Hey, it's Biddy Penny. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be showing you some 12 by 12 cutting hacks so that you can get the most from your paper. Maybe you have a huge stash of 12 by 12 paper pads like me and you're ready to use them. So I am going to be showing you directional paper that's single-sided, non-directional paper, single-sided. I'm going to show you double-sided paper, plain cardstock. I wanted to make sure that I brought in a variety for you guys to see, and I will be cutting up all of these for my stash. And how I picked my paper was knowing what kind of collections I'm going to be working with coming up. And so that's how I chose my colored cardstock. So I've got 3 very different washi tapes here. And the very first thing I'm going to do is mark up my scoreboard. So I am going to make a little key here for myself and for you guys, so you better understand my process. But I have 3 different washi tapes for 3 different sized cards. I have a Slimline, mini Slimline, and then an A2. So I'm basically just making myself a little key here in case I were to forget. But I also have another hack. So the first thing I'm doing is taking my Slimline, because I know these are going to be the first cuts that I make, so that's just why I do it this way. And I am putting these so that the line to the right is exactly where I want to cut. So I line my paper up to that. And this is at 8.5 and 7.5. Now I'm going to do my mini Slimline at 6 and 3 1/4. Now I know Slimline cards and mini Slimline cards come in lots of different sizes, but this is how I figured out I could get the most out of some paper. So then for my A2, I'm doing 4 1/4 and 11. All right, let's cut some paper, right? So my very first cut is going to be 7.5. Now I'm going to rotate that piece of paper and I'm going to cut it at 8.5. And now I have a Slimline card base. I'm going to score it at 3 3/4 of an inch. Fold it over. One card base is completely done, ready to go. Now this is the smaller of the 2 pieces of paper left over. I'm going to cut it at 6 and 3 1/4. And I have a mini Slimline card front. Now I have this one large sheet left. I'm going to cut it at 11 and 4 1/4. And then I will score it at 5.5. I'm pretty sure you guys are used to this kind of thing by now. And now we have an A2 card base. So from one sheet of paper, and I wanted to show you, you can do top folding or side folding. It doesn't matter. But from one sheet, we got 2 card bases and 1 card front and just a few little scraps. Now I keep these because obviously they can be put to use in your card design very easily. So those are 3 scraps that I will be keeping for sure. All right, let me show you another way to do this. You can mark your board by your numbers of cuts. So you cut 1, 2, and then you'll cut 3, 4, 5, and 6. And maybe this will make it easier for you if you would rather just have like a number key. So we're going to cut 1 at 7.5, step 2, 8.5. Then we'll fold our card base. Now we'll cut the mini Slimline card front at 6 and 3 1/4. And then step 5 is to cut at 11. And step 6 is 4 1/4. And then fold that card base. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I guess 7, 8 would be to score and smile. You did it. I used to be a dancer, can you tell? All right, so this is non-directional paper and it's double-sided and neither side is directional. So this is my favorite kind of paper when I'm using card bases, because then you don't have to worry. No matter which way you fold it, it looks good. And now we've got our mini Slimline card front, and our A2 base is coming. This is so just fast and fun, and it's wonderful. I really enjoy doing this kind of process before working with a new collection, and that way I know I have my card bases. I always have A2 card bases in white, but I only get them cut professionally on white, and all the other ones I make myself. So it's nice to sit down and do a session like this. What I was showing you there is I have card inserts that I always have pre-cut as well, and I just strengthen weaker paper with that. Okay, so this is from a paper pad. This is an American Crafts Maggie Holmes paper pad, so it had that little strip at the top. So I just wanted to make sure to trim that off before doing any measurements so it wouldn't throw off everything I'm doing here. So this is a single-sided non-directional paper. And it is so just fast, especially for me once I have these markers. It just moves along. It doesn't take any time at all, and I can have a bunch of card bases or card fronts. All right, let's work with some directional paper. So I'm showing you here, like if I was to fold that over, the unicorns on the back would be upside down, and that's just not a good look, not what we're going for. So you kind of need to not think about these numbers because you have to think about your paper first. Like I want these unicorns to run across my card, so I'm going to have to cut this at 8 1/2 first. Okay, now because this is directional paper, I'm not going to be able to get card bases. I'm only going to be able to get card fronts. So now this is cut at 8 1/2 by 3 3/4. Now this piece, I wanted to cut down to be an A2 card front. And I'm looking at my design here. And so I cut it at 4 1/4, and then I'll cut it at 5 1/2. And now I have a card front for an A2 card base. I have one long strip left. This is going to make 2 mini Slimline card fronts. Okay, I'm just showing you here, think about your paper. Like I decided to trim off the piece that would trim off just the little bit of the unicorns that was showing on the edge. So I have 2 really nice looking sheets of paper. So just think about your designs as you're going and which side you might want to trim off. But here out of one sheet, we got 2 Slimline card fronts, 2 mini Slimline card fronts, and an A2 card front. 5 cards out of one sheet of paper. I think that's pretty awesome. Let's do it again, but let's change up our variables. We're still going to make our first cut at 8 1/2. And that largely has to do with the direction of my paper. Now, I'm going to cut it at 3 3/4. This time, I'm actually going to cut it at 3 3/4 3 times. So from this sheet, I'm going to have 3 Slimline card fronts. And then we still have this one long piece, and we're going to do the same thing we did on the first sheet. And we're going to cut this down to 2 pieces that are a mini slimline card front. So again, we're getting 5 card fronts from 1 sheet of paper. And that's all we have left over are those little scraps. And from this one, I had this scrap left over. So I just think this is such a good use of your paper. Here are my scraps. A lot of these are actually just scraps that I had to cut off the paper to get started, but they're all functional and useful. So I wrote some stuff down here and just wanted to go over it with you guys one last time to close out the video. So for plain cardstock or pattern cardstock that's non-directional, you can do the card bases. And I have the cutting instructions so you can take a screenshot here. But I'm just going to pull a couple out to show you. So we got our A2 card base, our mini slimline card front, and a slimline card base. So that is what you'll get when you use that number 1 up there at the top, cutting directions. This is what it looks like in a double-sided paper that's non-directional. And this is what it looks like in a non-directional single-sided paper. Okay, so then let's go through and let's do the second one. Now I'm showing you here from 5 sheets of paper, I got 10 card bases and 5 card fronts. I think that is awesome. 15 card pieces from 5 pieces of cardstock. Now, so the unicorns here are for the step number 2. Okay, so if you want 2 slimline card bases, two mini slimlines, and an A2, then you can cut your paper like this. Now, of course, you could do this for your double-sided paper, your non-directional paper, your regular cardstock. If you just wanted a lot of card fronts and you wanted 5 per sheet of paper, you could cut it like this. But I just really wanted to demonstrate what you would do if you had directional paper. Okay, and here was my other option for you guys, which would be 3 slimline cards and 2 mini slimlines. So I really hope this helps you guys out. Use up your 12 by 12 paper stash, maybe help you if you're sitting down to mass make cards. I really like it. I think it's a very efficient use of paper, and you will get so much to work with, just ready to go, so that when your creativity is sparking, you can just grab a base and take off. I appreciate you guys watching my channel. Thank you so much. And I hope you enjoy tutorials like this. I will try to post them every so often when I really feel like I have an idea that would be useful to you guys. A lot of times, I post card kits and different things, but I will try to post these tutorials as well. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Bye!